What is going on YouTube? Lamont on the run. Today coming to you live but not live from my studio. Yep, this is my studio. Anyways, I want to talk about a case that I read about 4 days ago. Been meaning to make a video giving my opinions and thoughts about this. Let's begin. So this is a picture of 25-year-old Rashawn Carter. Okay, so Rashawn Carter has been missing since October 2nd of last year. So sometime in November, his body was found. Well, not really his body, or what was left of his body. You see the pictures on your screen right now. There looks like to be a skull and pieces of his vertebrae. Now, you're probably wondering, okay, so how did he get in this condition? Okay, so this is a kind of a weird story. I'll try to explain it as quickly as I possibly can. So Rashawn was from Fayette, Mississippi. I've never been there before. I don't know what it's like in Fayette. So back a few years ago, he had a small restaurant. I guess it was like a seafood restaurant, right? And then, as you well aware know, the pandemic happens. So his restaurant gets shut down. Everything is an absolute mess. So he doesn't have any money coming in. So he's trying to, think to himself, okay, restaurant shut down, don't have any money. What are we going to do? So he sees like a job offer. I guess there ain't much going around in Fayette, not a lot of opportunity. So he gets a job as a welder in a place called Taylorsville. Taylorsville is 100 miles away from Fayette. Now, this guy doesn't live down there, and his job is 100 miles away, and of course he doesn't have a vehicle that's running, so obviously he's not going to commute. I don't know the circumstances of the job offer. I don't know what the pay was, if it was worth it, but I guess it was worth it enough for him to go down there. So he goes down there, and the story jumps to him having some kind of a roommate where they're splitting some motel. Don't know too much about the story. All I know is that this guy and Rashawn were reportedly not getting along very well. So he starts having supposed problems at his job. Now, I guess it started getting really bad to the point where he called his mom. And there's a lot of holes in this story. So there hasn't been a whole lot of information readily made available to people who want to read up on this story. But he texts his mother, and he's telling her basically that he's having problems with people at his job, and he's having problems with his boss. So he tells his mother, he basically says, quote, "Me and the owner of the company are not seeing eye to eye." And on top of that, he's telling her about issues that he's having with his coworkers. And then he says, quote, "If anything happens to me," and he says his name, which has been redacted because they're not releasing that name because that guy could turn around and sue the crap out of the family. But he says, "If anything happens to me, so-and-so is responsible for it. He got these guys wanting to kill me." So he gives the name and the number of the individual that was targeting him, and he tells his mother that 3 truckloads of white guys are chasing him. So his mother says, well, okay, if you're having issues and problems, and the mother's 100 miles away, she doesn't know what's going on. She says you need to go to the police department. Now, I'm not 100% sure if he went to the police department or not. One story said that he did. or it led to the belief that he was going to, and that they did nothing to help him. I don't know how true this is. I don't know. This story's really weird. So that was the last communication that Rasheem's mother had with him. And to make matters even more mysterious in this story, somebody had a trail cam on their property, and in this photo right here, it shows Rasheem with a tattered shirt, what appears to be some kind of holding a branch or something, or a stick, in the woods by himself. So that's the last known sighting of Rashawn Carter being alive. So you fast forward exactly almost a month later, and some people, maybe just hiking or whatever, they find this human skull with pieces of his vertebrae, and it looks like the head, or his head, was severed from his body. Now, again, this is a weird story. So I'm not really sure what's going on here, but they did an autopsy, or whatever it is that you call it, because there's really nothing left of him. Now, if you have a body in the woods of Mississippi, of course animals are going to get after it, and there's really not going to be much left of you. So they did do an autopsy, and the results are undetermined. Now, they're undetermined, but this guy, his head was severed from his body. Now, I don't know if some animals or bugs just totally, his skull looks like what you would see in an anatomy class. It looks like a skull that was cleaned, if you will, where they would put it in, different people do it in different ways. Sometimes they put heat to it. Sometimes they put bugs on it. I mean, the skull is abnormally clean for somebody that was only missing for a month and then found. And then, of course, you see the skull, it's been sawed off from the top. And then you got missing teeth in the front. And that's because they took DNA from the tooth enamel to match it to Rasheem's mother. Now, that's pretty much the gist of this story. Now, the sheriff's department, who was investigating this crime, these guys said, "Oh yeah, there's no foul play." I don't mean to laugh because it's ridiculous. They're like, "Oh, there's no foul play here." Like, what the hell? What is this, Mississippi Burning 2023? So, I don't know what to make of this story, because there's no proof that he was murdered, because there's nothing left of his body. Now, if this were any other normal person, like how Rasheem was and is, I would say this is somewhat mysterious. There's got to be something to it. But I don't know Rasheem's background. I don't know if he was into stuff, or maybe he owed somebody money, or what. I have absolutely no idea what's going on. I'm not accusing anybody of anything, because I don't know. I don't know what's going on. And so Rasheem's mother hired, of course, Ben Crump. Ben Crump in the building. Ben Crump is in the building, y'all. So he wants answers because he believes that Rashawn Carter was murdered. Now, I want to jump on that train too and say that he was murdered, except I don't know, because there's not going to be an autopsy that is going to give us any kind of proof that we need. All we're going to, do or say is, oh, he was this, he was that. Well, we don't have any proof. And it's kind of weird. I know that there's not a lot of jobs in Mississippi. Mississippi is one of those states where there's jobs, but there might be an area where there's nothing. because there's no economy. It's just a bunch of people that, that are not working, or people that are looking for people to hire, but they're always far away from each other. So I guess you have to, go down the road to find a job, and it might be a little bit far. So I don't know if this guy was on any kind of drugs, or if he knew or found out something about what was going on at this job or this place that he didn't know, or they didn't know. I don't know. I was very tempted, and I still am very tempted to actually go over there and put this on my other channel, because I want to go to the location of where where the motel was, where he was found. I want to go, and I'm still thinking about it. I don't know. I'd like to go out there. That's why I was sitting in my van for like the last 30 minutes, kind of wondering, should I go out there? What should I do? I think I'm about about 400 miles away from the epicenter of where I would start investigating, if you will, which is what I would be doing. But I don't know. I don't know what's going on. And, I'm imagining that this guy that worked, or the guy that he is accusing that has, quote unquote, something to do with what happened to him, his name, of course, being redacted. I don't know if I'm sure the detectives, if somebody has questioned him or somewhat, but nobody knows anything. So I guess we're just going to have to kind of wait and see, because there's just not a whole lot of information. All there is right now is hearsay. All right, guys, leave a comment below. I pretty much have told you everything that I know about this case. If I told you any more, it would be circumstantial, and it would all just be he said, she said stuff. We don't have any proof of a murder. We have a what's left of a body that was found under very unusual circumstances. You have the trail picture of him, which also looks very weird. I don't know. I'm actually going to be keeping my eye on this case, because I'm curious as to see what happens. Leave a comment below. Tell me what you think. Is it a murder? Or do you think he just went crazy and died in the woods by himself? Also, am I the only one that when I walk out of a Walmart or a store without buying anything, do you feel guilty, like they think that you stole something? I didn't steal anything. Just want to let her know that. I always feel weird walking out of stores without buying anything. I feel like someone's gonna just come up from behind me and grab me. All right, guys, I'm out of here. Should I go to Mississippi? I have no idea. I don't know. I got a lot to think about. Catch up with you guys on the next video. Peace out.